Impressive, right? Now, I'm originally from Africa. I've never chased lions. That is one skill from these people. These people are called the Dorobo Hunters from Kenya. As you saw what they did there, they just showed the signs of courage and just the audacity to just rise and just start walking towards lions. Now, I should have put a disclaimer, do not try this at home. Don't go to the zoo and just open it up and try and see if it works. Now, this is supported by our verse that was read so well. And it says, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Then it says, three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. Now, from the video that you just watched, do you think if there was one man instead of three, do you think the lions would have run? No? What if there was two? Maybe, but we definitely saw that three were better, right? There's a lot that we can learn from the animal kingdom. There's a quote that says, species that collaborate survive, and then it says, species that are selfish go extinct. If you look and consider bees, the way they work together, if you look at how ants, as tiny as they are, if you've got ants in your house or you've got outside, they're always walking in formation, they're always building mounds. If you look at kangaroos, buffaloes, even the lions that we just saw there, they were working together for one goal and one purpose. As a church, we are one body. As a youth, we are one body. We are one team, and in a world where people are focusing on themselves, it would serve us well to be able to focus and to really be together as one, to be able to accomplish our goals. Now, my favorite Danish guy, you, please come. Please come. Laura, can I borrow you? Okay, just quickly. I just want to re-emphasize this point that I'm trying to make. Now, okay, you stand there. Laura, you stand there. Okay, can you fight?
No.
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 But if you had to, would you do that?
No.
No. Okay, I want you to fight.
No.
Oh, okay, I want you to just do this. Okay, Laura, who's gonna win? Who's going to win? Realistically.
I bet on her.
You bet on her. I think you would win. And then if it was me with Laura, who's going to win?
Yeah.
Laura.
Denmark.
Denmark? Dylan, come please. If it was the three of us, who would win? We guys, right? It's common sense, right? But if Laura is by herself, thank you very much. If Laura is by herself, she's gonna get destroyed. Even though you guys are saying no, and you want to, I understand you want to support Laura. But the point is, the more they are, the more we can defeat him. Yeah? Thank you very much. You may be seated. In Ecclesiastes, the verse that we just read, there's a concept of synergy that I want to explain. Synergy is the combined power of a group that can lead to outcomes that are more effective, efficient, and impactful than what could have been if it was just one component, which is what we just demonstrated here. The more, the better. Specifically, even when we're singing in the group. Now, you heard 7 voices, 8 voices, but people in the group know that I don't sing by myself. I might sing with them, but you don't want to hear me singing by myself. It doesn't work. There's a time that we sent a recording, because we were recording music, to one of our producers, and I wanted to give him an idea of what I wanted to sound. I sang on the phone, and he said to my wife, he said, what did he say?
You sound like a donkey choking on plastic.
Yes, that's what he said. He said, whoever sang this sounds like a donkey choking on plastic. And he is the nicest guy, but that was very hurtful to me. And since that time, I never sang by myself. Ever. But the point is, when I'm singing with them, it works. But when I'm singing by myself, you will never hear me singing by myself. But together as one, there is a synergy. There is things that we can accomplish as a group harmoniously than I would ever be able to accomplish. Now, when he says a person that's standing alone can be attacked, we don't know what this attack is. But all we know is that once a second person has joined, that thing that is attacking them, they have a potential to be able to attack it. Now, I was then thinking as I was reading this, what kind of attack could it be? Or what could be linked to this verse? And the best linkage that I found was in Galatians chapter 6, verse 2. And the verse simply says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of God. You will fulfill the law of Christ. This verse encourages us to support and assist one another in bearing each other's burdens. These burdens could be physical, these burdens could be emotional, these burdens could be spiritual, or it could be relationship issues that we might have. But the point is, just like the Dorobo hunters that you just saw there, they were faced by lions. They were faced by this energy. They were faced by this problem that they needed to solve. And you saw them, they rose together at the same time, and they started charging forward. What could it be like if we saw someone with a burden, and then we assisted them? Because it's saying, carry each other's burdens. That means that if I have a burden in my life, if someone carries it for me, if I see a burden in someone's life, I can carry it for them. And as a community, you have at least one person carrying another person's burden. And there are various and practical ways that we can use, that we can do to be able to offer assistance to these burdens. Those could be through prayer. It could be just through emotional support. Something as simple as actually listening to someone. Someone says, look, I am very anxious today. I'm not quite sure how I'm feeling. You standing side by side with them to be able to attack that anxiety by just listening to them. That's you being part of that scripture. Someone says, look, financially, I am really struggling. You standing with them to say, look, your burden is my burden, is the same way that this Bible verse is commanding us to be able to carry each other's burden, but also to stand side by side. The more, the merrier. So now you need to ask yourself, what is this lion in your life? Just like what the Dorobo hunters were faced by. What is the lion in your life? What is the burden in your life? Once you are able to identify what that burden is, once you're able to identify what that lion is, we need to be able to move towards it together. We need to be able to tackle those problems together. Essentially, we need to rise as one together. I want to close off by this verse. Says, Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 11, it says, also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? I'll end it with this story. Who knows what animal that is? It's a porcupine in English. I'm not sure what you call it in Norwegian. Pigsvee. Pigsvee. Okay, that's a pigsvee, everyone. Yeah, porcupine. So now a story is told that there was a group of porcupines that were just, out in the forest, and they were going about their daily business. Winter came. There was snow everywhere, and what they did is they huddled together to keep warm. But the problem is, once they came together, because of the spikes that they have, they started poking each other. So they said, look, this is uncomfortable. They separated and they went to sleep separately, alone outside, just as alone as this porcupine is. Overnight, when they woke up, they found that some porcupines had died. because they decided to sleep by themselves. So they said, look, if we sleep by ourselves here, it's not going to work. Let's just sleep together and keep warm. They squeezed in together in their little cave. They were poking each other, but that's the only way that they were going to survive. The next morning came, and they had survived. Or to say that if we come together as a team, we have to recognize that everyone has some spikes in their life. Everyone has some issues. A great team is a team that is not perfect. A great team is a team that is able to work together in its imperfection. So anyone who is imperfect in your team, in whatever way, bearing in mind that each of us have our own imperfections, but a great team is a team that is able to function together, even if we have issues in our life, even if someone's got an attitude issue, even if someone's got, or maybe they can't hit the ball hard enough. But the fact is, if we're working together as a team, we'll be able to be victorious. Teams are never perfect. Individuals in a team are distinct people with their own spikes. Basically, again, everyone has their own issues, and we need to be able to recognize that. In order to build a strong and cohesive team, the members must be ready and willing to accommodate the shortcomings of each member. I'll finish with this statement from Martin Luther King. He says, "We must learn to live together as brothers and sisters, or perish together as fools." God bless the reading of His word.
Good morning, church. How are you today? Okay, someone said good, someone said wonderful. How are you guys today? Are you happy? Did you have breakfast? Did you have good breakfast? Did you guys have good breakfast? I had a toasty. It was fantastic. I have a short message for you today. My friend spoke about the importance of teamwork, and our theme, of course, is Rise as One. Can you just repeat after me? Say, Rise as One. Rise as one. Say it one more time. Rise as one. Fantastic. So before I start, I just have a few requests. See, when I'm nervous, my speaking increases very, very quickly. So if I'm going too quick, just raise your hand. Okay, so just practice raising your hands real quick. Perfect. So if I go far too quickly, just do that and hopefully I'll realize. And if I don't, then my fiance can just throw something at me. So, also, Rise as One. So my subtitle for this, because my focus is going to be on the individuals that make up a team. Now, how many of you have ever seen a stool before, like a chair with legs? You've seen one before, right? Yeah? No, those are the regular chairs. I mean, like science stools. Some of them have 3 legs, some of them have 4 legs. What do you think will happen if one leg is missing from the stool? What's going to happen? You're going to fall on the floor, right? And the function of that stool is then null and void. You won't be able to use it anymore. My focus is going to be on the individual in the team, focusing upon you. You may be part of a team, you may not be part of a team, but there's a part that you can play as an individual. But I'm going to read from 1 Corinthians in chapter 12 and verse 15 to 20. This is more or less my entire message, so I'm just going to be adding things around this scripture. And it reads, 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 15 says, "If the foot should say, because I am not a hand, I am not of the body, it is therefore not of the body. And if the ear should say, because I am not an eye, I am not of the body, is it therefore not of the body?" Verse 17. "If the whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would be the smelling? But now God has set the members, each one of them, in the body, just as He pleased. And if they were all one member, where would the body be?" And verse 20 says, "But now indeed there are many members, yet one body." So everyone plays a specific part. So for example, we came here to sing and to minister to you, correct? Everybody sings a certain part, right? So Nigel, for example, he sings bass, very, very deep. Everyone loves bass, right? My friend Tino over there, super tenor, but he can sing everywhere. But his strengths are, he would say baritone, I would say tenor. It's an argument. I think it's tenor. But My lovely fiance, for example, she can sing soprano, alto, even tenor, but her strengths are alto. Okay, I'm getting eyes, that's fine. And then Chido, of course, soprano. Alto. Interesting. Anyway, this is the point just to say that each part that makes up the team is important and it is key. So for example, one of my favorite sports is football, but I'm going to make an example from volleyball, right? So let me ask you a question. If the center, let me know if I get it correct. The center. Setter. Oh, setter. If the setter is missing in the game, will your strategy be successful? It won't be, right? Because there's a part that the setter plays. I'm guessing he sets the play. Yeah? Okay, cool. That's fine. So, let me use another example that I'm more familiar with. Football. Who plays football here? Fantastic. So if the goalkeeper's missing from your defense, can you play? Really? But it will take a lot more effort from the other members of your team to defend the goal without the goalkeeper, right? There'll be a hole in your defense, right? So it's better if the team is all there playing their specific part, correct? So each and every person of the team is important. It's not just about the striker. Who are they? So I'm a center back, so it's all about the defense. But every part is important, correct? Fantastic. So, another analogy. We use the PowerPoint presentation. There's a laser here. So, I was born in Zimbabwe, right? And one of my favorite things to drink is this drink called mazoe. Right? This drink is fantastic. It tastes beautiful. But when we moved to the UK, we lost access to this drink and we'd have to get it shipped into the country, right? So the whole process of shipping something from one place to another, I didn't realize it was as complicated as it is. I thought it was just a case of put it somewhere like on a boat, bring the boat to the UK, bring it to my house. But there's so much in terms of steps to get this from where it is to where I am, right? So the next part. So it begins in the factories, right? In the factories, there's a team that works together to create the labeling, put the labeling on the bottles, put the bottles in boxes, and then get all the paperwork correct. Does that make sense so far? Right? Am I speaking at the right speed, yeah? Fantastic. And then after that, it goes into a truck, which is then driven to the local port or the local dispatch place or wherever it is. And it takes a driver that's under a specific contract who has specific hours and has to go to a specific place that someone has decided. So as you can see already, there are two teams at work, but each team has a specific function. And of course, within each team, each person has a function. If one person goes missing, then this entire process gets messed up, correct? So from here, love it. So we're back with the truck again, right? The truck drives all the way to one of these things, this big thing in the corner here, right? So when you get to the port, you have to make sure you have the correct paperwork and information so that it can get onto the ship and then the boat can go to the UK to where I am, right? Within that, there's a lot more things that happen within the process. And of course, if anything goes wrong, it throws the whole thing out of whack. Oh, yeah, it says export there. Right, next. So, separate to where the truck is, there'll be some sort of office where you have to present the paperwork, have the correct thing, the correct sizes. If one digit is incorrect, the incorrect things are paid, and then you have to take it back, and then the process gets even longer, and it can be very, very strenuous, and it can cause a lot of delays and headaches, right? So, of course, that's the paperwork that needs to be filled in correctly, whatever it may be. I'm speaking specifically for my favorite drink, mazoe, right? And then, of course, that's the office of people who are working to process the correct paperwork so the correct things can go together. So this is when it's actually arriving into the UK. So if you mess up at the port, which is where I work at the moment, then everything will either have to go back or it stays there for weeks at a time. And then I don't get the drink that I love so much, right? So, assuming everything goes correctly and goes swimmingly, this beautiful drink arrives and I become a happy person. Does that make sense? So, each member of the team is important for the goal of the team. And just as a reminder, what's the theme for today? Rise as one. In every aspect of our lives, there's teamwork. So can I just ask my friends just to stand for a second? Perfect. You can sit down now, that's fine. So, just in that process, the body has gone through many different movements. Signals come from the brain to the muscles to enable you to stand. Who woke up this morning? I expect everyone's hand to be up. I mean, it's a bit awkward. Fantastic, right? When you woke up in the morning, you went through a process in your body. The organs in your body worked together to wake you up, to get you thinking. You woke up, you prayed, went to take a shower, brush your teeth, have breakfast. All these things are underpinned by teamwork within your body. But then can you imagine it on a bigger scale? Your body works as a team, then you go with somebody else who then works with you to do different things, right? So how many volleyball teams do we have here at the moment? We've got 3? 4. All the volleyball teams, can you just raise your hand for a second? Fantastic. Can you stand for me 1 second? Fantastic. That's a lot of teams. Right. Okay, you can sit down now. Thank you very much. That's fine. So, I'm assuming that when you're all together at your schools, you have practice together, right? And everyone fulfills a certain role that they need to do for the team so that you guys can win. And then, of course, we know who's going to win today, right? Or tomorrow, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah, confidence, yeah. I'll leave that one where it is. But we're going to look at another example from the Bible about teamwork. I'm going to open 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 19. So one of my favorite characters at the moment is Samuel. Samuel went through a great many struggles in his life, but one thing that you can see in his life is God working. Even though he's going through those troubles, God is right there next to him. But this is one instance when he's with his best friend. How many of us have best friends in here? Fantastic. I have a best friend too, but he's not here sadly. But I've got another best friend who's right there in the front. So I will read from 1 Samuel chapter 19 and verse 1 to 6. So this is a story where we can see, it's a very small team, but it's just 2 people, but you can see the benefit that one person has to this other person as they work together. So 1 Samuel chapter 19 and verse 1, it says, Now Saul spoke to Jonathan his son and to all his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted greatly in David. Verse 2, So Jonathan told David, saying, My father Saul seeks to kill you. Therefore, please be on your guard until the morning, and stay in a secret place and hide. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where you are, and I will speak with my father about you. Then what I observe, I will tell you. Thus Jonathan spoke well of David to Saul his father, and said to him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he has not sinned against you, and because his works have been very good towards you. In verse 5, For he took his life in his hands and killed the Philistines, and the Lord brought about a great deliverance for all Israel. You saw it and rejoiced. Why then will you sin against innocent blood to kill David without cause? And then verse 6 says, So Saul heeded the voice of Jonathan, and Saul swore, As the Lord lives, he shall not be killed. So the team that we have is David and Jonathan. A threat came upon David's life, and Jonathan was in a position to be able to help his friend. So they worked together, right? Jonathan was able to speak to his father and say, he has done nothing wrong. Jonathan was in a unique position that was only unique to him. Nobody else could speak on behalf of David to the king. And of course, when you read the story further on, Saul tries many other times to get David, but we see that God is always there in the picture, always helping him along with the teams that are around. But without Jonathan there as the individual to intercede on behalf of David, I don't know if he would have survived. Maybe God would have found a way. I don't know. But this is an excellent example of teamwork. And it's an excellent example of the I in team. Now, I know that the spelling of team is T-E-A-M. There's no I in team. But there are individuals in the teams that we take part of. So always be aware of what your role is with your team, and make sure that you do your job with due diligence. And make sure that God is with you as you do your tasks. I'm just going to close by reading our key text from Ecclesiastes 4 and verse 12. Once I can find it. And it reads, A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple braided cord is not easily broken. This principle of teamwork, God understands, and God has woven it into the very fabric of creation with our bodies. Everything must work together perfectly so that we can rise as one when we wake up in the morning. Just like the volleyball teams that are taking part tomorrow, you all have to work individually, play your part, like the setter must set and the others must do whatever they do in order so that you can succeed and score goals? Score points, right? So, just to summarize, it's important that we all work as a team and rise as one, but as individuals, we all have our part to play, and God can show us our part to play. I hope that this message has blessed you, and I pray that God continues to guide you in everything that you do. Amen.